Hi guys, this is Meenu. Welcome back to my channel Storytale. Today I'm going to be talking about I Kissed Shara Wheeler by Casey McQuiston. I've already read her last two books, which was Red, White and Royal Blue and One Last Stop. I was in love with both of these books and that is why I wanted to pick this third book too. This third book is supposed to be a mystery along with a rom-com, but to me this turned out to be a disappointment in both the departments. Somehow this book feels same as the One Last Stop. I do not know why. Maybe the vibe is the same or the characters are almost alike. So I do not know why I feel like I have read the last book again, but somehow this feels little less interesting. I do not want to ruin this book for you guys. That is why I'm going to keep it spoiler free. Before I dive into the like and dislike section, let me talk a little bit about the synopsis. So the story is about Chloe Green, who is in her senior year and she has been dying to being a valedictorian for a very long time. She only has one competition who is kind of standing against her and who is Shara Wheeler. This book is supposed to be an enemies to lover kind of a book, but for me it did not turn out to be that one. I will talk about that later. But anyway, Chloe is obsessed with beating Shara to become this valedictorian. But of course everything changes when Shara suddenly disappears after she has kissed Chloe. What comes as a surprise is Shara is actually straight. She also has a boyfriend. So Chloe fails to understand why she actually kissed her and then disappeared the next day. Chloe was not the only one that Shara kissed. She also kissed her boyfriend and also her neighbor. So that is why all of these three people band together to solve out the mystery why Shara actually disappeared. Shara has left many clues for them to figure out where she has actually disappeared. So it means that she has disappeared voluntarily. She has not been kidnapped or anything. So all of these three people find these clues from many places throughout the book, and to be honest, that was the most interesting part of this book. Chloe is identified as bisexual, so she has always been a little bit attracted to Shara, but she has not actually done anything about it because she knows that Shara is straight and she is this typical golden girl who is loved by everyone and who dates the quarterback of the school. So of course she has always been a little bit out of reach for her, and that is why she never actually thought about her that much. But when she finds out these clues that Shara has actually left behind, she kind of discovered that maybe there was something between them which both of them were actually unaware of. But as I said before, this is the best part of this book, and which ends by the 50% of the book. We kind of discovered what was the intention of Shara and where she was very early on the book. I thought it would be the ending, but it was not. So that was a little bit disappointing part. And as Chloe has mentioned itself in the book, it did feel a little bit anticlimactic. I'm not gonna lie, when we discover where Shara is and what was her intention behind leaving everyone, it was kind of a disappointing one, because after that the book was not interesting. Even the the reveal was not that much interesting. It did kind of become very boring for me by the end of the book. Let's dive a little bit deeper with my like and dislike section. The first thing that I like about the book is the first half. I think it was done very well. The mystery part was written very well. It was very engaging. I was actually hooked to the story because I was really interested in discovering where was actually Shara, and all these clues that they find in this cafeteria or in the school or in the house, or everything was very interesting. I think if that would have been continued till the end of the book, it would have been a much better story. I was really in with Chloe when she discovers all these little clues and all there was these riddles that they also discover. So that was very interesting. We also meet many people in the first half of the book. So again, that was interesting too. The little secrets that we discover of many people was very interesting too, like I said. But all of this was wrapped up in the first half because the second half was just a drag. The second thing that I like about the book are the secondary characters. Smith is by far my favorite character of the story because he was like a real gem. I also loved his speech about being a quarterback and how he has to be a certain body type to be a quarterback, to be this famous footballer. Like he cannot be soft and less bulky or even skinny when he has to try out for football. He has to look a certain way. He has to have muscles and everything. He have to be stereotyped so that he can become a footballer. Playing football is something that he's very passionate about, but he has to sacrifice many things in order to achieve that goal. He has to look a certain way. He loves flower and he loves to put flowers in his hair, but he cannot do that. Why? Because he has to be a stereotypical man in order to be a quarterback or the captain of the team. I also loved Rory. He was one of the interesting characters too. He was very sweet too. I also loved his love story with this character that I cannot reveal about, but the love story that he had, I think it was just amazing. It was actually better than the main love story that we get in the book. I'm not gonna lie, if you read it, you're gonna know which love story I'm talking about, but it was very interesting. I also love the reveal that we have, because we get to know for whom he has this love feelings for. Also, there's this last scene in the book which I actually liked too. So both of these characters were very well written, and there were also other characters, but they were not as interesting to me. They were the same character as I saw in the One Last Stop, so that was nothing very interesting for me. The main characters of Shara and Chloe both were okay for me. I did not hate them, but I did not find anything intriguing about them either. But I did love their love story because both of them complement each other very well. So I really loved that. I really loved how slowly but eventually they found their way to each other. So I really liked that. I would have loved the mystery a little bit longer, like I said, because the way they both kind of flirted with each other in that story, I really loved that. But by the end of the book, I felt like their story was kind of dragged. It could have been done a little bit earlier so that we get to see their relationship. I would have loved if we got POV of Shara, because she comes from this religious family who is also the principal of this school. So of course she has to suppress most of her feelings, because of course she comes from a religious family and they are kind of against her being gay. So that is why she never reveals that she has feelings for anybody, and she also never admits to herself that she has feelings for Chloe. So that could have been delved a little bit more into. I would have loved to see her POV, to see what was actually going in her mind and how her family actually suppressed her and everything. Especially in second half when the reveal was done, I think it would have been better if we have got a second POV from there of Shara. I think that would have made the experience much more better. The third thing that I like about the book is how it handles certain issues, especially when it comes to religion and homophobia. It has been dealt very nicely. Both of them has been dealt with sensitivity, which I really loved. Shara comes from a religious family. Even the town of I think Westbridge, if I'm not wrong, that is the name of the time. Maybe I'm wrong. I do not remember the name, but it is a very religious town. So that is why it is very difficult for people to express their feelings, especially when they have feelings for the same sex, or if they want to be other than stereotypical type. So it becomes a little bit difficult because people start to judge them. Like I said, it is a town where religious people are more in number than the liberal people, and that is not true. Religious people can be liberal, but this town specially kind of judges people for who they are. That is why these students or these high schoolers kind of had to hide their feelings from these people, because they do not want to be judged or they do not want to be suppressed like actually Chloe's parents had to, because both of the parents of Chloe are actually women. Both of them are lesbians, so they had to leave town in order to be together, and when they came back still people are judging them based on the kind of choices that they made. That is why it is very difficult for the kids to actually show their feelings or show their true emotions and everything. So that was handled very well in this book. That was shown perfectly, and even by the end everything that happened with the characters was actually done very well too. Now let's talk about the little problems that I had with the book. First and foremost, the second half. It was not interesting at all. It was a drag. I mean, I had to stop myself from sleeping because it was such a boring chapter. I do not know what happened in the second part. Why could not the story be continued or the mystery continued a little bit longer? It was not a book. It had only 300 something pages. So of course the mystery could have been continued for a little bit longer. This book kind of got confused between what it wants to be. Does it want to be a mystery book or does it want to be a rom-com book? So I think that is where the author kind of falters. This is a young adult book and it feels like a young adult book. So that is not the issue here. The issue here is the second half. It could have been done a little bit better. Like I said, the mystery part or the reveal that we get of Shara, it was not interesting. It was kind of boring. So the second part of the book was not that interesting. It was just some high schoolers finishing their high school. That was it. I did not find it very interesting. Like I said 100 times. The second half could have been much better. The second issue that I have with this book is that maybe there was a little bit too much of representation. There was barely any straight couple or straight people in this book. Everyone in this book turns out to be from LGBTQ plus community, which I think was a little bit absurd, because I think it was trying too hard. all of the straight people are kind of a little bit villain in this book, and there's barely any straight people. The bunch of people or the bunch of characters that were introduced in this book, all of them are mostly queers. So I do not know why there were no straight people in this group. It did seem a little bit unrealistic, I'm not gonna lie. And that was the same problem with One Last Stop too. There was just too much of representation. I understand that representation is necessary. Of course, in this world where almost 90% or 95% of the book are based upon straight people, I can understand that inclusion and representation is very much necessary. But there's also such thing as too much representation. What we need is a world where people of all the communities kind of live together and are happy together and everything do together. We cannot just alienate a certain group of people. When we are showing queer people in the book, we cannot just show queer people, and when we are showing straight people in the book, we cannot just show straight people, because both or every kind of people exist in a world. So we need that perfect balance. We just do not need to alienate a certain community or certain kind of people. The third place where this book falters is the genre that it tries to be. Does it try to be a mystery book or does it try to be a rom-com book? Because it is a lackluster in both the department. The mystery part, it did a little bit well, but then it ended too soon, and the rom-com part was a little bit boring. I think if it would have continued with the mystery part for the 90% of the book, it would have been a much better book, and even the reveal had to be a better one. The reveal was not that good. I did not like it. Like Chloe said, it was anticlimactic. I did not enjoy it at all. The rom-com part, I did enjoy a certain love stories, but the main story, it was not that great. I mean, I love the romance and everything, but the enemies to lover part was done very miserably. It was not good at all. I would have also loved the longing kind of love where there's angst and everything, but again, that was not the same thing in this book too. So the rom-com part falters a lot in this book, and I do not know why I'm saying com, because there was no comedy at all. There was nothing hilarious about this book. There are certain sweet moments though. I really love that, and all of that is included because of Smith. I really loved when the first time he puts flowers in his hair. I think that was very sweet and very nice. I would have loved to see that, and also loved when he has certain conversation with Chloe, especially when it comes to how he has to be a certain body type because he wants to be a football player. That whole conversation was just a gem. So there are certain scenes where this book actually shines, but most of the time it does not. It does falter as a rom-com and both as a mystery. I think if it would have picked a lane, it would have been much better. But anyway, this was the author's first attempt at a young adult, and I'm not gonna say it was a bad one. I think it was a mediocre one. Did I enjoy this book more than I did her last two books? No. I think this is my least favorite of all the three books. For me, this was a 3-star read. I cannot give it anything more than that. Do let me know in the comments down below what you think of this book, and if you like this video, do not forget to like and subscribe. I will see you next time. Have a good day.